With New Orleans coming up in 2 weeks, I thought, what can we do to get ready? Because you guys are coming with me. So let's talk all things New Orleans. And we're going to start off with the voodoo queen herself, Marie Laveau. I think it's important to know about Marie's history. So I'm going to tell you about her grandmother. Her grandmother was actually taken from Africa at the age of 7 and brought to New Orleans. She was a strong-willed, determined woman, and she ended up actually buying her own freedom. She was a businesswoman that did everything she could to free her 5 children. One of her daughter's names was Marguerite. Now, Marguerite was actually owned by her own father. That's what I said. Her father owned her, which is messed up on so many levels, so many levels. Believe it or not, that happened so many times before the Emancipation Proclamation. When Marguerite turned 18, her dad gave her her freedom, which you think, okay, nice, but no. He told her, you're free now, but you have to marry this old white guy that I've picked out for you. So now Marguerite is stuck with this old white guy, so she did the best she could to try to make the most of a really shitty situation, and her and the old white guy ended up having 3 kids. But she was like, you know, I just want to live my life. I want to fall in love. She just romanticized just having like the perfect man. Well, she ends up meeting this guy named Charles Laveau, and he ended up being the son of this really popular politician, right? So she ends up getting pregnant. Yikes. Yikes, because she's still married to the old white guy, right? So she loved her daughter so much, and she was terrified that something was going to happen to her, so she had no choice but to give Marie to her mother, Catherine, and then go back to the arranged marriage. Marie is 18. She had the best childhood growing up with her grandmother, and she's on her own, and she meets this Haitian dude named Jacques Paris. Now from here, they're together for like a year. We don't really know any of the details. We don't know what happened to that guy other than he just disappeared. We don't know if he was unalived, if he just like left, if he went back to Haiti. No one knows. They were actually married for an entire year, and then just poof, he's gone. After that, she meets this white man that's of French nobility. His name is Christophe Glapion. I had to record that 400 times because I could not say that man's name. She loved him. She ended up being with him for 24 years. She was faithful to him. He was faithful to her. They had 15 children, but of those 15 children, only 2 survived. After he passed away in 1850, she never remarried or dated or did anything fun like that. There was this place called Congo Square. I've gotten out of the way so you can pause and read about that if you want. So on Sundays after Mass, all of the African Americans, whether they were indentured servants or free at the time, would go to Congo Square. They would get to see their friends. They would get to see loved ones that had maybe been sold to another household, which is heartbreaking. But they would also barter and get together and dance and just have the best time that they could on that day. The Voodoo Queen made the most of that. She would go down there and she would make friends with all of the indentured servants, and she would be like, so, hey, what's going on in your house? Can you tell me all the tea? And they would spill. And then she would go to these rich families and be like, oh no, I heard you had diarrhea. Do you want a cure for that? They would be like, oh my gosh, how did you know I had diarrhea? And she's like, because I'm the Voodoo Queen, y'all. Like, here, I got this charm for you. Take this. But it's going to cost you $40. That's how I envision it went down, which was genius. She was also hella brave though, because she would walk around the square with this boa constrictor around her neck that she named Zombie after this serpent deity named Le Grand Zombie. Everyone loved her. They would shout, Queen Marie, when she came through the square. She was known for like fortune telling, offering up charms to help fix things, and just all of the cool voodoo things you've heard about. They didn't call her the Voodoo Queen for nothing, y'all. This is what her original home looked like. It was just like this little adobe cottage, but they said that she got it for free because she got this rich, wealthy guy's son off for unaliving someone. Apparently he came to her and was like, hey girl, I got this house. You can have this house if you can get this son of mine that probably did this unaliving off. And she's like, let me see what I can do. So here's what she did. She took 3 peppers, she put them in her mouth and infused them with good intentions, took the peppers out of her mouth, put them under the chair of the judge. She then took a cow's, nailed it to the chair of the prosecutor, and this made him unable to speak, and he wasn't able to do all the things he needed to do, and so the kid got away with it. So the guy was like, yes, here's your house. That being said, a lot of people just say that she got it because her grandmother owned the land, but you know. In 1875, she got sick. She never wanted to leave the house. So they ended up tearing it down after she passed away in 1881. And then they built this in 1903. They used the same foundation as the original house, by the way. This is now a rental home. So if you want to go stay there, have at it. But let me tell you, everybody that tries to stay there, they rarely make it through the night. And then when they do, they see shadow people. They find like random feathers in the middle of the room, which was kind of like her thing. She would like bring feathers to people. One couple that tried to stay there said that they heard like drums and chants, and they were like, oh, okay, cool, it must be a parade or something. Nope. All of that was happening in the house. So they got freaked out, they left, they came back the next day. Guess what was in the living room floor? A feather. From what I've read, as she grew closer and closer to the end of her life, she started to get further away from voodoo and closer to the Catholic religion. She never missed mass. She would go help prisoners and pray with them and try to get them to find the Lord before they passed away. It's been documented that when she passed away in June of 1881, she had a devout trust in heaven. This is where you can find her today, buried at the St. Louis Cemetery 1. But as you can see, due to tons of vandalism, you can only get into that cemetery now if you book a tour to go. And I'm glad that they do that because this is ridiculous. So don't do that. Don't do that to anything. So this is just the very start of our journey of all haunted things in New Orleans. So like, comment, share, follow for more. Come back and see what all we're going to talk about.